Hey artists, today we're going to draw and paint this deer. Make sure you have a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie, watercolor paper, watercolor paints, a glass of water, paintbrushes, and a paper towel. It's important to have the correct supplies for this style of painting, especially the watercolor paper and the Sharpie. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead with the head of the deer. We're going to start with a curved line up like this. All right, and then from there we're going to start on the sides of the face. So they're kind of like rounded like this. So we kind of started a little bit down, rounded it, and then we're going to do the same on the other side, but the opposite direction, just like this. So those are the two sides of the deer's head. Now we're going to add in the ears. So from about this point, we're just going to swoop up, make a point, and come back down. And then inside of there, you can draw in a little line and some zigzags. That's kind of like the fur in the ear. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Make that a little bit bigger, like that. And then I'm going to add in that line again with the zigzags. Okay, next we're going to draw in these antlers. You can go up and then back down like this. You can make that maybe a little bit thicker like that, and the same for this side. And then we're going to add some sticking out, so like this, and then like this, and the same on this side, this way and then this way. So you kind of want it to match this side but flip-flop like a mirror. And then you can erase the lines that are in between there, just so you don't forget when you're adding your marker to leave that white right there, because you want it all connected. Okay, next we're going to draw in the deer's nose. So we're going to start about here on the face. All right, next we're going to start on the deer's nose. So we're going to start about here on the deer's face and go around like this, kind of curve it this way, and then round it at the bottom, just like that. Just draw a little line down, curve upward, and then we're gonna make that into a circle shape, like an oval actually, like this. Okay, and we're gonna draw down this way, just like that. You can add some dots just so you remember you're going in with your marker. I put 3 on either side. All right, next we're going to draw in the eyes. So from about this point right under the ear, we're going to curve around and down to that nose. On the other side, we will do the same thing. We'll start about here under the ear, curve and down, and then we're going to start about here and swoop it up this way like that, and the same on the other side. Swoop it up. Okay, now we're going to do the actual eyes. Those are kind of just the tan parts of the face. So we're going to swoop around this way, and I drew some big eyelashes on my deer like this. And then we're going to start at this point, go around and connect it on over here on this side of the eye there. You can go ahead and fill in the blue part of the eye, that's here. And then we're going to draw some big highlights like this on the deer's eyes. Okay, we're going to go ahead on the other side, and we're going to do the same thing we just did on that side. Swoop down here, and then add some big eyelashes kind of coming off the side of the face, and then start about here, swoop around, and then connect. And then we're going to draw the inside of the eye, 1 line, 2 line, and then some highlights. On this one, I drew the highlights closer to this side, and this one, it's over here. So you don't want your highlights in the middle. You want them on this side this time. Okay, so I'm going to make this come down a little bit, and then we're going to draw in the neck. So we're going to start about here, kind of in from the bottom of this line here, and then swoop down and then back out a little bit, just like that. And the same for the other side, swoop in and swoop out, just like that. Okay, and now we're going to draw in this white part of the belly, so a couple up and down lines, kind of like fur, and then down and down. And we're just going to stop it. We're not drawing the whole deer's body. So, all right, then about here, I'm going to draw the back and down. So that's an easy line there. And then we're going to draw a couple polka dots on the back here. And then finally the deer's tail. So swoop up and then back down. And this is a white-tailed deer, so we're going to add another line here. And this will be white. All right, I think I'm done sketching in my deer, so I'm going to go ahead and take my Sharpie. I'm going to go over all of those pencil marks that we just did, and you can do the same. When you're doing the marker lines, you can fill in the eye except for the highlights. You can also fill in the nose. I also left a highlight on the nose, so if you want to draw that in, just kind of draw like an oval shape like that. Oh, and also these little dots up here, I have a couple little dots. I have like 3, and then I have 2, and then I have 1, just like that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with my Sharpie now, and you can also make sure that you add some thicker lines on the outside if you want to give it just a little bit more dimension. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start, and then we will do our next step. All right, I'm all done with my marker lines, so I'm going to go ahead and take my eraser and erase any pencil marks that I still see, and you can go ahead and do the same with yours. All right, I'm all done with my eraser. I'm going to take my paper towel and my paintbrush, and we're going to go ahead and start painting. So for the antlers, I used a very light brown. What I did is filled in the antlers with some water. And then I just took a very little bit of brown and went along the edges. So not all the edges, right in here like this, and then along this side. And you can kind of see that the paint's starting to move up into the rest of the antler there, and it's a very light brown. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side. If it's not moving quite enough for you, you can add a little bit more water, just like that. All right. While we have this color, we're going to go ahead and fill in the eyes, like right in here too. We're going to do kind of the same thing. We're going to use that same brown, but only a very little bit of it. And we're just going to fill in along the edge here and kind of just smooth it out. You can see it's a very, very light brown now. It's almost white. So we're going to do the same for this eye. Grab a tiny bit of that brown. Just move it around. If you get too much paint, you can see mine's a little dark. You can just take your brush and dab it onto your paper towel. Grab a little more water and you can pick up some of that paint. Just make sure not to get it in the highlights of the eye. You want to keep those white. All right, we're going to do the nose next because that's also this light brown color. So again, I'm filling it in with some water, grabbing a tiny bit of brown, and then just going around there. I'm starting at the bottom here, at the bottom of these two shapes, because they'll be darker than the rest. And then you just kind of blend it up a little bit so that it's all just a tad bit brown. The next light spot is this part in the front here. This is probably more so white, but we want some shadow, so I just took some brown, went along these edges just like that, and pulled some down just to give it a little bit of color and some dimension. So again, it's almost white, just ever so slightly brown. Okay, now we're going to start on the head of the deer, which is a little bit of a darker brown. So I'm going to start up here at this ear. I'm gonna make it wet. You wanna leave this middle part dry where the pink will be. And then I'm gonna take that brown and I'm gonna go along the edges. I'm still using the same brown that I used for everything else, but this time I'm adding more paint. So you can see it's much darker now. Just like that. Then we're gonna start moving into the head here. You can add a little bit more brown at this bottom part if you want it to be a little darker. Just like this. I'm going to start moving in here, and then we're going to avoid those white dots on the head here. We don't want those to get brown. We want to keep those white. So I'm still just kind of adding water at this point. It still has a little bit of brown paint, but we definitely need it to be darker. I'm going to grab some more dark. I'm going to go along this line and right in here, and then back up again, and then I'm going to start blending that in. You can see I'm just dragging it up. You can add a little bit more dark right in here in that crease too, and blend it. I'm going to add a little bit of dark right up here and blend it down a little bit. Just like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into the other ear here. Again, making it wet except for that where it's going to be pink. Grabbing some of that brown and then going along this base here. Just like that. Blend. All right, we have the whole top half of the head here, so we can start at the bottom part here. So I'm going to make this wet right down to here. I'm going to stop about there. We're just working in sections here. We're going to go along right in here will be the darkest under his mouth or her mouth. And then pull it upward, right along the eyes there, and then pull it down. Okay, now I'm going to start moving into the neck. Just adding some water now to make all of that wet. I'm still pulling some of this paint down. All right, grab some more brown. I'm going to go along these edges here. Just like that. It's going to be a little dark under here where there's a crease, the neck. And we're just going to blend that in. Just like that. All right, we're going to do the back now. I'm going to fill that in with water like we did before. Again, avoid those spots back there that we want to keep white. And grab some brown paint and go along this line. This will be the darkest point of the back. Okay. I'm also going to add a little bit more dark on this side. Then I'm going to kind of drag those two colors together like this. You can kind of make it a little messy at the bottom. It doesn't need to be straight across or anything. Going around those dots. I'm going to add a little bit more dark up here. All right, and last we're going to add the brown to this tail, so I'm going to make that wet. And go along this line, and then right in here will be dark. And then we're just going to blend it up. Just like that. Okay, so I think I'm done with my brown. You can even add, actually, if you want to add a little tiny bit of brown right under here. I didn't do this on my other one. And then just blend it. That gives a little bit more shadow and dimension on that tail there. Like that. But you want it to mostly be white, kind of like these. I'm going to go ahead and add that to mine over here. A little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to take a smaller brush and I'm going to do inside of the ears, so I just made it wet and I grabbed a very, very small amount of pink. You don't want it to be bright pink. You just want it to be a very soft, light pink. Just like this, and you can kind of blend it into the brown there then. I'm going to do it on the other side, making that wet, grabbing a tiny bit of pink, and then blend it in. And then the last color we need is the eye color, which I made my deer's eyes blue just because I wanted them to stand out. So you can make yours whatever color you want. Actually, let's make this one's different. Let's make this one green. That way we have two different color eyes. Okay, I'm going to do green on this side and green on this side. I want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to add another layer. All right, just like that. So now we have two of them. All right, I am all finished. I really hope that you enjoyed doing this art project with me. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to see when I release some new videos. I would love to paint with you again soon. Most importantly, keep creating. I'll see you next time. Bye.